Welcome to POL Classics. Be sure to check out the best of POL from over the years. It's at its most popular day and time, and guess what? It's only on WNEP+.
WNEP proudly presents the premier outdoor show in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, your window to the great outdoors. Tonight on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
We'll help you understand the changes in this year's antlerless deer season, and we'll drop the net on the Deer Research Project.
Lace up those hunting boots. Pennsylvania Outdoor Life starts right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs, and as we're standing over here in the corner next to the calendar, it's hard to believe that this is indeed the last weekend of July. And by the way, for those of you that helped us out with St. Joseph's at the telethon or even over at the festival, thank you very much. Make my way over to Ken Hunter, who has very important news and hopefully a way of helping people understand what's going on with the doe permits.
Yeah.
It's only got a week, right?
Yeah, it's coming up real soon. The first Monday in August is when you can make application for the doe permits, and there certainly are some changes that have taken place this year, Jake, with the new wildlife management units. They've replaced the old 67 counties. We have 22 wildlife management units now. And we're going to take a look at how this has changed. WCO Dan March from the Pennsylvania Game Commission is going to go over this whole thing with us and tell us how you apply for a doe license and what these changes mean.
This has been a long time coming, and it's here now. The wildlife management units are a change from the traditional county system that we used for years. But if you recall, a number of years ago, the Game Commission started collecting data on forming wildlife management units, and we're at that point now where we've established wildlife management units, and it's something that's different that hunters are going to struggle with for a year or two, I'm sure. But I think overall it's for the better of deer management and the resource.
What's a couple of the changes that will take place, though?
Well, a couple of the changes. First of all, the application itself, the envelope, has changed in color, and believe it or not, we're getting some complaints from people on that. They got so used to the pink envelope, and you know, it became something that mom knew at home or the wife knew at home. I don't want to lose that. It's the pink envelope, the antlerless license application. If someone would happen to use the old pink envelope, as long as they use the wildlife management unit label and it comes to the right place, that won't make a difference. The next change that hunters will notice are the 22 wildlife management unit labels attached to the envelope. Now these will be peeled off of here. The hunter will pick one of these labels, and they're labeled by management unit numbers. 1A here, and then right on down through, all 22 of them listed. So whichever unit the hunter wants to hunt in, he'll peel that label off, place it right on the front of the envelope. These envelopes, once they're placed in the mail, will all go to a post office in Harrisburg. And each wildlife management unit has its own post office box. So 1A, for example, they'll all go into that 1A box. 2B, whatever, will go to a specific box. The Game Commission at that point will collect these and then ship them to the appropriate county treasurer.
how are these distributed to them, and how do they in turn distribute them to the deer hunters?
Well, they're allocated based on the percentage of land within their county that is in that particular unit. So once they receive these applications, it'll be handled very similar to the way it was in the past. The other day, just out of curiosity, I took a state highway map, and using one of our maps out of our digest, which every hunter will have access to when he purchases his license, can take a magic marker and draw those boundaries on a state highway map. To me, it made things a lot clearer, a lot easier to see when you can see the names of villages, towns, areas in that unit. And I think it might make the hunter realize, wow, you know, I could hunt this whole county before, but now I have, in some cases, this whole county and parts of several others. I think it will enlighten a lot of hunters as to the benefits that this wildlife management unit is going to provide. Well, there was a number of criteria actually that were used to establish these units. Forested habitat, deer habitat in general, human population, boundaries, physical boundaries. But in a nutshell, I would say the simplest way to understand this is like habitat. Habitat that was very similar in nature were formed into units, and it makes it much easier for the hunter now with some of the physical boundaries in these wildlife management units. And again, it goes back to tradition. As we all know, most of us grew up hunting with dad, uncle, brother, or whatever. We went to a certain area and hunted there for years and years. And hunters can still continue to do that. But these wildlife management units are opening up new territory, which a hunter can go to now, where he didn't have that opportunity before.
Well, we want to thank Dan March from the Pennsylvania Game Commission for that excellent explanation of how to do this. And Jake, I think the main thing to remember here is you're no longer sending your application into the county treasurer. You send it to Harrisburg with the proper wildlife management unit,
right,
and they send it out to the county treasurer from that point.
It really doesn't get too much easier than that. It seems like they have laid it out pretty perfectly.
Really?
If you're confused, there's information in the map on our internet, the program guide or the digest that they actually give you from the Game Commission and on their internet
Game
site.
Commission's website, yeah.
So there's a lot of information. Follow the highways. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do more than follow the highways. We're going to hit the road out to State College. We'll return.
We'll have even more POL Classics on WNEP Plus right after this.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. You know, Jake and I were just sitting here going through our hunting digest. They're getting pretty thick, aren't they, Jake?
Yes, they are. They're adding more and more
I
in there.
guess. But I was just looking at the deer harvest reports from 2002. It's very interesting reading, actually. Yeah. But you know, speaking of deer harvest, there's still a lot of deer research going on, and you have a little bit of information for us on that part.
Yes, I do, Ken. And the deer research that we're talking about is trying to figure out what happens to the bucks here in Pennsylvania. It's all associated with the antler restrictions and what happens to them as they get older. We spent some time in the middle of the winter out there in the State College area with Eric Long and Brett Wallingsford trapping mature bucks. How long have you been baiting this one?
This has been baited for just after the deer season. The muzzleloader season ended. About a little over 2 weeks. Yeah.
And the deer have definitely been coming in here.
They've been coming in. They hit it last night. We'll freshen it up now, make it real attractive for them, and sit back and
we go back up the hill there and wait.
Go back up there and wait. We're going to have the remote control set up over there, which we can then control from up in the trucks. So we'll have binoculars. We'll be looking at deer. When we have the right deer, the target deer underneath, which are going to be the fawns, catch button bucks, and we have them the right number. the best drop that we think we're going to get for that night. We'll drop move the remote, drop the weight, and the net will fall down.
Okay.
That's all it is.
With the trap rebaited, the net in place, and the sun setting, we made our way back to the vehicles for the sit and wait game. We weren't waiting too long before deer started making their way to the trap.
As they sometimes do, they'll come in, they look at the bait, it looks attractive to them, but it just wasn't quite enough. And one of them took the initiative to start up the hill, and as deer often do, one follows the other, and they went up over the hill. I was really hoping that we could draw a fawn in at that point, one of the younger deer, a little more gullible, bring them in and have them get comfortable feeding around there and draw some others in. But they had a mindset to go someplace else, and as is many times the case, they just took off.
Darkness set not too long after, making our video camera equipment all but useless without a light. Brett, on the other hand, was using night vision goggles and was able to watch as two deer made their way under the net.
You can see deer up on the hill.
Again, under the cloak of darkness, they dropped the net, and they were surprised at what they found.
We only do find one deer, but we do look at it, and it is a mature buck. Okay. I get the mask on him. Okay.
A tranquilizer is used so the team could work on the deer without hurting themselves or it. And the task of recording data on the buck begins. Ear tags were put in both ears, measurements of all kinds are taken, and the buck peacefully snores like a sleeping giant.
We're looking at the yearling bucks, but we also are doing some work with using GPS collars on mature bucks. And this was a prime animal to capture. This one was 2.5 years old. Next year, during the fall, it's going to be 3.5 years old, and we're really looking forward to getting some very good information from this particular deer.
By GPS, that means you can basically track where it goes, can't you?
Yes, but all the information is caught inside of the collar. So we have to get that collar back before we can download our information. But it's all going to be recorded in there based on the programming that we have for the GPS collars. Getting these antlered deer, these mature bucks, underneath a net is not very easy. And we were very fortunate tonight. This is the second mature buck that we've got on the air, and I feel very good about getting those bucks on the air with GPS collars.
For safety reasons, the buck's antlers are sawed off. This doesn't hurt the deer at all. These antlers will also play a role in the research project.
The little bit that remained, those are going to fall off, and next year he's going to grow another set of antlers, probably nicer than these.
And if all goes well, Hunter will harvest that buck, and you'll be able to look at those antlers and have these to compare.
And compare these to them.
What a heck of a study.
Yep.
After all the tags are on, the collar is in place, and the deer is untangled from the net, the buck is given another drug to help it wake up.
As soon as this antagonist starts to work, he's going to start gradually being able to control his head and his tongue and be able to start to get his own metabolism back. There he goes. There he goes. Yeah, he's fine.
Now, we've been following Dr. Alt and his team with Brett and Eric through deer management. We promise you that we will do that. Ken, that buck that we cut the antlers off, we know, by the way, that doesn't hurt them, we know that buck is alive and doing well just a couple of miles from where we trapped it, and we're going to go after it with some radio telemetry.
Very interesting research, Jake, and I can't wait to see where that buck is and what it's doing, what they found out.
Yep.
So, great stuff. Well, listen, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at people and places.
POL Classic, we'll have much more of it on WNEP Plus right after this.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I need you to take a look at this right here. This is a hat that was presented to me by some of our Navy men over there on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. You may remember that during the middle of that whole Iraqi crisis, I mentioned that my brother-in-law, Dave Conti of Wyoming, was on that ship. Well, they're home, and when I was out there, he got to visit with them. They gave me a captain's hat.
Now, you also said that a number of people from the area are on board that ship, and they rolled out the red carpet for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I walked up there, Molly Smith from Susquehanna County. I met a good man from the northern tier. His name's Tom. Tom, thank you very much for the part of the tour.
Wow,
just
great,
an incredible amount of people on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. Keep up the good work, guys.
That's great. Nice to hear that information.
It was excellent. Excellent tour.
Well, we're going to throw to a tip from our field staff member, Ray Sohaki. Here's how to use some of those paper clips up.
You often end up with a mess like this in your tackle box, globs of swivels, globs of treble hooks. Well, I have a little tip that could help you in your up-and-coming fishing trips. One of the tricks is take a paper clip, put your swivel on the clip. Just put one after another on the clip, and it'll keep it nice and organized. The same will go for the treble hooks. You take your trebles or your single hooks, and you could put each one on the paper clip. That'll keep your hooks nice and organized, so that on your next fishing trip, it's nice and organized. I'm Ray Sohaki, and that's my field tip of the week.
Well, thanks, Ray. Now I know what to do with all those paper clips that are laying around the house.
Hey, you know what? We're about to go to Pennsylvania People and Places, but you knew that Theodore Roosevelt was a big hunter, didn't you?
Yes, in fact, he was.
And he went over to Africa, and when you tour that ship, you get to see a lot of his photos in a little museum. Photos are a good thing, so is Pennsylvania People and Places. We opened this week's edition of Pennsylvania People and Places with a successful first-time deer hunter. 14-year-old Alex Steinman of Danville is seen here with the doe that he harvested during the early antlerless rifle season. Alex took the deer with a .22-250 while hunting in Montour County with his father Gary and friend Bill Brady. Congratulations on your first deer, Alex. Next, we'll see Ken Mangle Sr. on the left and his son, Ken Mangle Jr. on the right, and the pair of deer they shot while hunting on state game lands in Bradford County during the opening day of the rifle season. Ken Jr. would like to thank his father for another great memory to add to their 22 years of hunting together. 13-year-old Corey Burden from Music is seen here with the gobbler that he shot during the second week of this year's spring season. Corey's bird sported a 9 3/4 inch beard, 1 1/4 inch spurs, and weighed 21 pounds. He had a successful season by bagging several squirrels, geese, a fall hen, and a doe. Way to go, Corey. Sticking with turkey, next we'll see James Robinson of Canton and the 20-pound, 7-ounce gobbler that he harvested during the spring season. James' bird sported a 10-inch beard, 1 3/8 inch spurs. He managed to call this bird in while hunting in Franklin Township. And finally tonight, we see Logan Bartow of Walnutport along with his 4-legged sidekick Hunter displaying the results of their first rabbit hunt together. Logan was hunting in Sullivan County when he managed to get these 4 cottontails, and I'm sure this won't be the last time this young duo hits the woods together. Now, with these successful sportsmen, we'll close this week's edition of Pennsylvania People and Places. Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I can't look at you straight with that on. Go ahead.
This is a very nice little piece of equipment we're giving away on today's product giveaway. You'll see us wearing this little headlamp on an upcoming show where we were carp hunting at night. This is given to us by the Trident people, and it has 3 different lights. As you can see, I have a green light here that is used for night, and that way you can walk into your tree stand at night actually, and the animals supposedly don't see it, okay? You have an LED light here that's not quite as bright. Then you have a much brighter light. And this came in pretty handy while we were looking for carp in the river and looking for things in the boat. So we're going to give this away today, a nice little piece of equipment.
Let's roll out the barrel here. And of course, as Ken mentioned, we have a carp hunt that we will have coming up in the near future. We've got a snake story. We've got, what else we got? We got some other things
we've
happening
got
around.
the bobcat stuff coming up. We've got all kinds of good
incredible.
things.
We've been working on some incredible stuff here as we make our way through the summer, so just stay tuned.
All right, and the lucky winner is Robert Geronde, okay, of McAdoo, PA.
Congratulations.
Lucky winner.
I can't wait to use my hat like that. Hey, if you're going out fishing, good luck.
Yes, anybody else fishing, have a good time.
Just remember, follow the instructions, and that doe permit application isn't that hard. I'm Don Jacobson for Ken Hunter and the entire team here at Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. We're wishing you the very best in the great outdoors. Good night.
So long now.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Catch the big ones.
Thank you for joining us for a look back at POL Classics. Now I'm going to invite you to join us every Sunday night at 6:30 on WNEP+.